tonight on Focal Point.
I've made a lot of good friends. I've learned how to code stuff, and I think this will be really useful in the future for me to get a job at Apple or something like that.
There is a deficiency in a skill set, certainly around IT. Research has shown by 2020 there could be as many as 295,000 positions which need to be filled, and the skills to fill those positions currently aren't there. So what we want to do is to basically give the kids a head start.
The men who have sex with men community are adversely affected by STIs. We have one of the highest rates of HIV and syphilis infections in 2013. 80% of syphilis diagnoses were within the men who have sex with men community.
It really isn't a children's story, and I wanted to, in adapting it, be a bit more faithful to the fact that he goes to all these different places.
There's so much going on. He visits so many different worlds. We've created one longer narrative, just one pathway from one world to the next.
I'm an scam seo na an Gaeilge sprágu amasc na pláiste yoga, agus is I'm common culture acting na Gaeilge sprágu amasc a hanla den yearntail. Bavra linn de mé pláistín seo ag Lord Gaeilge saci ag úsáid Gaeilge saci is CEO socialta le pláistí eile óhaid na difriúla.
From Springfield's point of view, we believe it's very, very important to inspire young people in schools. But we need to get into the schools to do that. So we're working through Extended School Cluster of Greater Falls in particular. We've attracted a large number of schools to become involved in after-school clubs, summer clubs and coding camps, and we find that if we engage with the children as early as possible, then hopefully as the young people become 13, 14, 15, 16 years of age, they will look to STEM subjects as a potential job opportunity in the future.
Well, the Springfield Summer Coding Camp, we see it as a way to introduce children to coding in a way which is inclusive, it's interesting and ultimately fun. Well, there are a number of specific programs that we'll be teaching them how to use, all of which are designed to address a particular learning skill. We've got web design, we've got game programming, we've got app development, and we've got 3D modelling, which is probably one of the most popular units on the course. Teamwork is a very, very important aspect to the course. We certainly encourage the children to work together, to share information, to share new information which is learned. Ultimately, it prepares them for a working environment where they can share information with others. The whole idea of IT and problem solving being collaborative is something that we're just so keen to promote. So they're encouraged to look at problems, collectively come up with a number of solutions towards those problems, evaluate the solutions, and then use the new skills that they've learned to solve them.
I learned a good couple of things. I learned coding. I learned how to put the coding in the back, like set it in the system. And I've also learned how to make my own website, to make a game, and to make 3D modelling and Lego robots. So I think the skills in the course will be really useful for me in the future.
Well, I've been learning how to make games and all, and yesterday, I think it was yesterday, that we made Catch the Clown, and today we're making Pac-Man. So it's a good way how to learn how to make games when you're like older and stuff. So my favourite part was making games because I'm a computer girl, so...
I mean, IT has traditionally been considered to be a sort of male-dominated industry. Both Google and Facebook have did some research recently and found that female employees make up anywhere between 15 and 17% of their workforce. We're very, very pleased here that the students that have enrolled, we've got roughly a 50-50 uptake.
The courses we provide a full gamut of electrical, catering, plumbing, all sorts of construction, and all of that would be at various levels. Through Springfield Learning we would provide a complete wraparound support everything from the professional technical information right through to the personal pastoral support that's required. Springvale Board would believe that we are obviously in a very unique and challenging area of Belfast. We actually work right across Belfast now, and we believe that the personal support and the development of young people and people is essentially important to them sustaining their jobs.
It's been identified by education authorities that there is a deficiency in a skill set, certainly around IT. Research has shown by 2020 there could be as many as 295,000 positions which need to be filled, and the skills to fill those positions currently aren't there. So what we want to do is to basically give the kids a head start.
I've met a few friends and I've learnt about coding, and I think it's going to be useful when I'm older to make games and stuff, and like making new games that never existed and all.
I've made a lot of good friends. I've learned how to code stuff, and I think this will be really useful in the future for me to get a job at Apple or something like that.
The summer course is currently ongoing, but we do have a Saturday class that runs fortnightly, teaching exactly the same subjects and same skills. And anyone who wants to get involved in that can do so by contacting us through the campus website, which is www.springvalelearning.com.
Today is all about getting gay and bisexual men across Northern Ireland in to get them tested around their sexual health status. In Northern Ireland, gay and bisexual men don't have specific services dedicated to them, so the Rainbow Project has worked with a number of other health and social care trust organisations as well as community and voluntary providers to ensure that there is access for that community, because they are more likely to experience HIV and other STIs, not solely because they are gay and bisexual men, but because of their experiences around health and well-being outcomes.
I came to the clinic a couple of months ago, and the clinic was brilliant. It was there specifically for men who have sex with men. Everyone was really friendly, and it was a completely confidential environment, which was great for people who maybe aren't out yet, which is a problem in Northern Ireland because of homophobia and biphobia within our communities.
Since we have been running the outreach clinics in other venues where men who have sex with men attend, we have seen an increase in diagnosis of infections. Some people find it uncomfortable to go to traditional clinics. Some people haven't actually even admitted to themselves their sexual activity or their sexual risk. So I think it's really important for us to come to them, and it really sends out a signal that, you know, we're trying to look after their health and trying to help them protect themselves, and to think about ways that they can do that.
It's really important that this service is kept on and is well funded for this community. The men who have sex with men community are adversely affected by STIs. We have one of the highest rates of HIV and syphilis infections in 2013. 80% of syphilis diagnosis were within the men who have sex with men community.
Gay and bisexual men, for example, are about 5 or 6 times more likely to have gonorrhea, HIV and other STIs than the wider heterosexual population. The reason why we want this service to exist is because of the fact that there are a number of other services out there, but they're all very much under a huge amount of pressure. As you're aware, health and social care is under a huge amount of pressure, and so a service like this, for example, a sexual health, sex positive service, is not something, frankly, that the politicians in our Stormont departments, particularly that in the health ministry, which is run by the DUP, which is opposed to same-sex couples and same-sex relations, will really invest in this type of service. So we've stepped up to the mantle, in a sense, to try and make sure that that provision is there where it once wasn't.
Myself and some other doctors and a nurse, we come down to the venue and we bring all the samples and all the equipment with us, and the men are processed by the Rainbow team, And then we call them in and we discuss with them their sexual history and ask a few questions about risk, and take some details so that we can get results back to them. And then we discuss the tests that we would like to offer. And basically in this venue we can offer the full range of testing. So that will involve a blood test, looking for HIV, syphilis, hepatitis, and also then a urine, a pee sample, and we can do a throat swab, and they can take some other swabs. And we will also offer a vaccination for hepatitis infection.
I think a lot of people see that STIs are one of those things that it will never happen to me, but it does. If you're not careful with your sexual health, you will get an infection. It's really important that you do use condoms, use every protection that you can, and get tested regularly.
What we will be doing as part of this clinic is running our range of information pieces as well. So all the staff that are involved will be talking to gay and bisexual men about their sexual health. We'll be talking to them very specifically about the likes of PEP, which is post-exposure prophylaxis, a type of medication that you would take if you think you've been exposed to HIV within 72 hours or 3 days. And they'll be advocating for that if there is any cases this evening. What they'll also be doing is they'll be talking to people about their status in general, just around asking those questions that are generally quite hard to ask whenever it comes to sexual encounter, like when was your last test, and so on.
Some people are nervous about testing for HIV or other STIs because of stigma. And to those people, I would really encourage them to come and talk to us and to come and have a test, because a negative result really helps reassure. And if there is a positive result, if there is an infection there, a lot of the infections can be treated, and if it is HIV or hepatitis, those can be managed. And it's much better to manage those things when someone is healthy than to then try to manage things when someone's very unwell and maybe in intensive care. And it's much more difficult then to get the help, improve their health. So I really would encourage people to have a test, to if they want to ask their GP for a test, or to come to some of the outreach clinics.
I would definitely attend another clinic like this again. It's one of the most warm, friendly, welcoming environments specifically for LGBT people.
Everybody's read a version of Gulliver's Travels at school, so everyone has a perception of what that story is going to be, but it's not the case that, in fact, most of the versions of Gulliver's Travels that we read at school are heavily cut, abridged versions where he goes to Lilliput and then to Brobdingnag, and that's about it, really. And also they're sanitised versions, you know, so you don't get the sort of sharpness of the satire. All of the darker elements are stripped away.
I am the associate choreographer on Once, the musical, and the associate director is a guy called Des Kennedy, and he was in talks with John Bromwich, who runs YMT, and they had talked about putting on Gulliver's Travels as a musical, and because I've done an awful lot of work with Des over the years, it seemed like a good choice that the two of us would sort of embark upon this project together.
Well, I was asked by John Bromwich, actually, I think, if I'd be interested in writing music for a new commission, a new play based on Gulliver's Travels. And I'd written once before for theatre about 6 years ago and really, really loved it, and had been actually thinking what I could do, how I could get involved in something like that again. So yeah, the opportunity came up, and yeah, I didn't know much about it or what would be involved, but yeah, it sounded like an exciting thing to be involved in.
It really isn't a children's story, and I wanted to, in adapting it, be a bit more faithful to the fact that he goes to all these different places that perhaps the audience won't be familiar with, and try to retain some of that satirical quality.
There's so much going on in the story of Gulliver's Travels, and he visits so many different worlds, and actually in the books he goes back and forward travels out of England and Ireland and goes and visits the lots of, and then comes back again and goes. So that end of it would have been quite tricky. So what we've done is we've created one longer narrative, just one pathway from one world to the next. First of all, you're meeting tiny people, and then he goes into a world where he becomes miniature. Then there's another world where we've got some talking animals and things like that. So there's huge challenges in just even thinking about how you're going to begin to put that on. But we've come up with some clever tricks. Des has had some really good ideas, and we've just worked together to try and physically bring them onto the stage.
I think when you get asked to write for a particular project, you kind of, well, I find anyway, I take reassurance in the fact that I've been asked to do it, and I'm not asked to do something that is outside of what I normally do in terms of the style. So very much just approached the songs in the way I would write normally. One thing we did try and do was, in the different worlds, was try and create somehow slightly different soundscapes for each one. And one of them in particular is this very kind of hedonistic, almost old kind of Roman world of excess. And for that, we thought it would be appropriate to kind of embrace a kind of more like clubby kind of sound. So that was probably the only kind of going off-piste in terms of how I would normally write.
Duke Special's music sort of indicated that each world had a different feel, and when you start listening to a piece of music, you can almost just pick up a style, or it sort of pops into your head straight away. Oh yeah, that needs to be slightly edgier. This style of music requires something slightly more fluid, and so all the young people have sort of come from different dance backgrounds. So we have some ballerinas, we have some contemporary dancers, we have some hip hoppers, and you try and draw all of those different styles out of them and sort of slot it into the appropriate sections.
And the songs in it, I suppose, are I kind of wrote them with Andrew in a very similar way to write any songs, where they're you're trying to communicate the emotion of the song and a narrative as well. And although it's not me, actually kind of these things didn't happen to me, the principle was still the same.
Whenever in a musical, whenever the music starts, it's typically when an emotion can't be expressed in any other way, and so the characters just have to burst into song. There's loads of moments like that within the story, because it's a very intense story, and there's a lot of sort of emotions that are going on, and so it lends itself quite well to people sort of bursting into song, I think. So there is a sense in which it feels quite natural.
The play, Andrew Doyle has adapted it, and because it's be a very difficult thing to navigate, to put on stage, so he's kind of adapted it, and yeah, obviously taking some poetic license in terms of the story.
There's so many different elements to it, so like the costume, the video, the movement. We've got some live musicians on stage who are moving around, and actor musicians. So all of those things, we hope, will sort of create that world, and the audience, of course, are going to have to use their imaginations.
So inniu tá an campa saoir ag reachtain an seo campa Gaeilge de pláistí a go bhfuil Gaeilge acu nó teag fólam na Gaeilge idir éis cuaig agus séimhlín na déagdéis. So tá rud an seo ar fáil le gach eile pláiste atá Gaeilge lífa acu nó teag fólam na Gaeilge, tá ceard linne agus tá rangana agus imeachtaí cultartha gal ar an seo fa gach eile de gach eile pláiste. Agus ar nóid a daine agin fiúg teacht ó America agus ó Canada agus ó áit na difriúla chun Gaeilge ólam tá méid sin clú agus cail ar Scoil Saoirmh Reachtain.
I've been doing Irish with my school for about a year now, and I started to like it, so I started to want, and then my Irish teacher gave all the class a note, and I brought it home I got to go and I've been enjoying it.
Tá an céad rangatugí na an campa sa seo de dhéagarí a bhfuil ar an bhanscoil agus atá Coideachí Golden Gaelic ag fólam na Gaelic ar an bhanscoil Berla agus Coideachí bhfuil Gaelic lífa acu atá ar Cháilte Firste. So tá imeachtaí teanga an dóibh agus drama, sport, ceol, álín agus aniu tá ceard lenne eile ag gáil fásta. Cumáile sin club waige an agus seo de fáistí tá ar bhanscoil na Berla nachhfuil Gaelic acu ar scoil, so seo an céad dóibh Golden Gaelic, so bíon rangan na Gaelic acu ar maidín agus in san Trona bíon imeachtaí cultúrtha dóibh fásta ceol agus drama agus riile. Agus cumáile sin tá ceard lenne álíne agus dramaíochta gáil sin duna pláistí a bhfuil Gaelic acu ar an bhanscoil, so tá Alíontóirí stí céad fud ar maidín ná agus bíon eistrí stí ag deanna ceard lenne dramaíochta lá Trona.
So maidín bíon rang Gaelic agin agus bíon maid ag fólam cad Gaelica agus bíon sport agin ag deirí an le agus bíon maid ag basketball agus volleyball agus ruí mar sin. Sprálam an sport sin an rang is farlam mar tá sé on taghánmar agus heag Lord agus le a cardú.
Den scéim seo rí táhachtach do caiithna Gaelic go háirithe má firste. Fecin na pláistí go bhfuil siadabal a Gaelic a úsáid tíomh muid an scoil agus nach teanga scola is teanga socialta agus teanga publi agus bíon siad ag caiithú agus ag fólam na Gaeilge in timpachta an saltbar agus spríhar agus de cod pláistín seo ó scoilna éagsala ó aitina éagsa de cod a hanig ó aitina Port of Ferry agus don Ganan agus aitina a hanid sa tíirta siad ligan seo, so fecinn siad ó seo daoine eile ag fólam na Gaeilge costalam agus níomhhain go gaithim muid Gaeilge Lort ar scoil tá si i mé an phobal fásta.
Tháinig mé go dtí an scéimseirí seo mar ag go níos mó Gaeilge ólam. Tábhachtach an níos mó Gaeilge ólam mar tá mé go ag Cáilte Firste ar an bblion se thugainn agus bé sé níos codúil dú. Tá sé tábhachtach dú san mar Gaeilge úsáid mar tá sé just tábhachtach dú. Tháinig mé an scéim seo mar is smailm an álainn agus an drama agus ag Lord Níoig. Smailm Gaeilge a úsáid in mhuid scó ag Lord le a cárte.
Tá 8 muintir a gin an seo agus tá beirt cúntar a gin fásta agus na cúntarí is daoine óga a bhíag freistar na rangan na seo agus a bhíag freistar an campa a tenis ag teach de reistúin le bheith codí leis na pláistí óga atá ar dóid si ar dóid le feiceil go bhfuil daoine a bhíag freistal ar an campa anis ag codí agus tá muintirí a gine le cailithe mar muintirí agus tá an taithí acu ag teagas in arnón na ggéalscoilíochta agus tá taithí acu fásta bheith a man ceard lenne dramaíochta agus ceard lenne álíne, so tá an taithí ag na muintirí agus an dúlacha in san Gaeilge fásta. Am léana tá breis agus 8 daltaí a gin ar an scéim agus tá nefar ag flas bliana a bliana. Cumáile sin ar nóid tá an scéim saoirí duna daoine fásta gáil agus tá breis agus gachéad daoine fásta ag freistal ar na rangan sin, so ar nóid sé ag flas bliana a bliana bus tá ag dúla níos mó pláiste ar an bblion seo gin fásta, so tá scafte bhrágin an seo agus tá siar dóid.
Well, in the morning we're doing like learning Irish, and then we're going down for a break, and then we're going home. We're going to there and we're doing music and dancing, and then we're having lunch. Then we're going to do sport. Then in the morning we're doing like learning Irish.
Is sí aim an scéim seo na an Gaeilge sprágu a másc na pláistí óga, agus is é aim common cultúrreachtain na Gaeilge sprágu a másc a hanna le daine ar an tail. Ba bhrá linn de mé pláistín seo ag Lort Gaeilge sacu ag úsáid Gaeilge sacu is sío socialta le pláistí eile ó áit na difriúla go bheici siad go déag le solta bhaint as an Gaeilge tíomh muid an scoil agus nach bhfuil sé go thomlan loníthe tíomh stéad an scoil ach go bhfuil an chuid pláistín seo a bhfuil Gaeilge acu. Ba bhrá an feiceil go bhfuil si ag fáas agus ag fáas mar tá seo mar dúirtméin séú bhblion déag agus hosí sé amach just coppla daine ag freistal chuid rangan ar bhíon teirí agus arcar iniste níos móna 3 chéad daine ag freistal ar an campa agus ba bhrá an feiceil go sin ag lansan a rags ag fáas leis.
Now